Our next presenter is a interdisciplinary artist who's been thinking many queer thoughts lately. And she says her latest work is turning the tables on some of her favorite folk tales. So, ladies and gentlemen, Eszter Sapi.
Hello. I'm going to start with this adorable picture of myself when I was a good 5 years old. So from this time on, I have some pretty solid memories, and I can sort of remember and sort of understand what was going on around me, but I was clearly not old enough to have any say whatsoever in what I'm wearing, as illustrated by the princess dress and the crown to top it all off. So at this time, newly post-communist Hungary had many exciting things to offer to a young child, but I looked forward to this beautiful cursive beaming at me 7 p.m. as I turned on the TV to one of the 2 state-run channels, because this meant that my very favorite animated folktales would be coming on. And who better to get you ready for this glorious half hour that you get to spend watching TV than TV Motsi, right here, TV Bear. And he would walk you through a nighttime routine complete with brushing your teeth and gargling and cleaning your toothbrush afterwards. So I learned good oral hygiene from TV, but that was only one of the many things I was taught. These beautiful patterns and wonderful colors had me sitting mesmerized in front of the TV, so that little girl in the princess dress thought that this rather beautiful, heteronormative happy ending was hers to dream of. Alas, she turned out to be queer, so this is much more in line with her happy ending. This is one of my latest drawings, and it has 2 of the archetypal prince male hero characters from my folktales, originally, by the way, from a threesome with a lady in the middle. So these animations weren't simply heteronormative. Often they also normalized emotional and physical abuse. This youngest princess was exiled from home for not using the highest superlatives when asked to describe her love for her father. So, feeling safe at home? Come on, don't get too cozy. Women's sexuality in these tales is also depicted as the devil's work. That is indeed the devil between her legs. This sexuality is something to be feared and mourned over, and moreover, it just happens to women, and it happens to stubborn, or in my eyes, rather independent and kick-ass ladies. But the most important thing about women's sexuality, obviously, is how it affects the men in their lives. As you can see it illustrated by Daddy King, crying salty tears over his daughter having a great time in the background. So this behavior is shameful, obviously, and it needs to be stopped. So in this particular scene, you're supposed to identify with our hero there, who is indeed, yes, forcibly opening that woman's legs, and I quote, he says, "Come out, devil, because I want to get in." So, as you can tell, women's sexuality is something that ladies have absolutely no agency over. So in the following images, those are some of my latest drawings that you'll see. What I'm trying to do is have the ladies have their fun. Just let them enjoy themselves. Let them have some agency over their body, and so they can do whatever it might be that they wish to do. I try and strip away that negative context that I talked about. This lady you might recognize from the background slide with the king crying. So I stripped that negative context and let her be there without shame and having to worry about some random youngest son who's on an unrequited quest to save her. So these images, the message behind them, these 3 is basically frolic. Frolic away, ladies. All right, one more theme from these stories that I grew up with, coercion. If exercised by men is positive, shall we say clever and cunning. So in this particular story, you're supposed to root for the young boy who tricks this princess into lifting her skirt higher and higher till we get here, and look at stylized pubic hair, and it's amazing. So clearly, you're not to worry about the fact that we're using this lady's body as a spectacle and a commodity. This next woman lifting her skirt to her father to illustrate a point about mending clothes. and being witty is not out of the ordinary, but I guarantee you, you will never see a male character pulling their pants down willingly, so we get a glimpse at their tighty-whities, much less their privates. On the other hand, swinging a sword in someone else's face to assert your will and get what you wish, if you're a guy, is totally fine. I mean, look at him, what a strapping young man. He's clearly our hero, somebody who's protecting us all, so let him slash her open. Indeed. Looking at the next image, the first thought that came to my mind was spanking is one thing, and huzzah for consensual fun, and choose a memorable safe word. But gratuitous violence and depicting a beating as the rightful punishment for some moral flaw is quite a different story. So in my version of that scene, the beating doesn't actually happen. There's hopefully a little room for questions and other possibilities. And as a good friend of mine put it, the violence becomes futile and the character lowering his pants a little less complacent and more cheeky. Thank you, Derek. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is wit and sass, which are essential in a great story. But this witty saying, "I'll cut a belt out of your back," one of the most common insults that gets thrown around in these folktales, it's not that witty once you actually stop to think about it and draw it. But I say, don't despair. I shall leave you with this image. In my mind, this one is rather queer and irreverent, and in the process of drawing it, it cracked me up, and I hope you enjoy it as well. It's something that I advise you do, is crack yourself up so you keep going. And the screen says, "Good night, children," and so will I. It's been my pleasure talking at you. My understanding is it's the beer break after me, so it would be even more wonderful to talk with you. Thank you.